Hello there and welcome to my channel. Please stay safe. So we live in a happy world, a world of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's happy face. We live in a world of intense celebration and joy. Hold on, what did I just say? No, sorry. I was not born yesterday and I haven't lost my mind. Not yet anyway. So let's go to our subject today. Last time I was wondering why the Democrats have chosen Biden in the first place and why all this election makes little sense to me. So at a first glance, selecting Biden seems to be totally suicidal mission, always his physical and cognitive issues, unless you know from the beginning that he cannot lose election. Unless you know that it is a given. He'd been told to stay put and say as little as possible. At the same time, they paired him with a Kamala, and Kamala thinks Biden is a racist and she really hates him. Just remember how she screamed at her during Democratic nomination. So, Biden is just a figure, a picture of a basic human kindness, a puppet. But why? Because the people who really want this power can hardly participate in that race. And I mean people like Nancy Pelosi or Hillary Clinton. Nancy and Hillary, they both hate Trump more than anything else in this world. And Hillary lost face during 2016's campaign. This was a total humiliation. So how could they know that Biden cannot lose? Well, take a look at Nancy Pelosi's interview with CNN's Wolf Blitzer. You know the CNN is very blue, right? CNN is not going to criticize Democrats or ask them awkward questions, especially during the election process. And now we have this interview, and Nancy Pelosi says she's not prepared to accept the White House 1.8 trillion dollars coronavirus stimulus package. Why? Because after election, she go with $2.2 trillion. CNN journalists could not accept this answer easily. And several times he asked the question, why? Why you will not accept the $1.8 trillion stimuli right now and add a few $100 million later on? Nancy Pelosi, she just repeated again and again, and also dodged comments like, hey, you should care more about American people. At the end, she became so angry that at last she said, you don't have any idea what you are talking about. Wow. I don't know wolf, but I do agree that she had a pretty good idea. She knew at that very time that Biden was going to win anyway. And no matter the cost, she cannot accept anything right now with Donald Trump's signature on it. After all, she wanted all the glory. And screw the rest. Well, Nancy knows very well how it works in politics. After all, she clawed her way to the top for decades. And obviously she was right. Joe Biden has won. But again, how? First, when you look at the swing states, you see that Joe Biden won by a razor-thin margin, especially in Georgia, Arizona, and Pennsylvania. And it's very curious when you look at this that until the very last moment on the night of November 3rd, Donald Trump still had a lead in all these states. But then something had happened. It appears that all additional votes, and we talk about hundreds of thousands of them, went to Joe Biden without exception. So how to explain that Trump was stuck with 214 without even a slightest of changes during the time? Well, I don't know what you think about it, but I do find it very concerning. And right now, we've learned something else, which also is quite concerning and totally unusual. Some world leaders keep quiet about Biden's election victory. We are talking countries like China, Russia, Turkey. It looks like they all await the official result. Why? And oddly enough, all of these states are totalitarian, right? But also, and quite surprisingly, GSA, which is General Services Administration, who is on or responsible for a transition process of federal buildings, did not start the process yet. And this despite experts urging them to recognize Biden as a winner. They issued a statement, though, which goes something like, it ascertains the apparent successful candidate, once a winner, is clear based on the process laid out in the Constitution. What does it mean? It only means that they are going to wait for the official nomination, which means December 14th. Again, this is very unusual. As far as I'm concerned, all these facts show the scope of uneasiness among people in power in the United States, obviously, but as well as abroad. Again, for me, there is only one way to describe why did this happen. For me, it's a presumption of fraud. the presumption of fraud. Thank you for listening to me today. Stay tuned for more.